Hey everyone, welcome! So if you're a junior web developer looking to seriously level up your skills today, grab a notepad. I'm going to step into the mentorship role for this session because, well, we've got an incredibly exciting goal. We're building a real-time, fully functioning cash-on-delivery store literally from scratch. And we're going to do it fast, efficiently, and with the absolutely most modern workflow out there.
Which brings up the big question, right? How fast can we actually build a full-stack store from scratch? In the old days, you'd be stuck writing endless manual CRUD boilerplate, setting up tedious routes, wiring up basic forms, until your eyes literally glazed over. But actually, scratch that. That's officially out. Today, leveraging an accelerated AI and backend as a service workflow, that's the modern standard. Let's dive right in and see how you can build enterprise-grade systems in just a fraction of the time. Okay, so here's our sprint plan. First, modern app architecture. Second, backend and security first. Third, generating the storefront. Fourth, the admin dashboard. And finally, shipping to production. Nice and manageable.
All right, phase one, modern app architecture, mapping out our tech stack. As your mentor, I really got to stress this. Before we write a single line of code, we absolutely have to understand our architecture and the specific tools we're collaborating with. Think of Supabase as the brain of our operation. It's going to handle the database, authentication, and security rules. Next, Google AI Studio. This is basically our highly efficient junior assistant. It's going to write all the UI boilerplate so we don't have to manually code basic HTML and CSS. And finally, Hostinger. That's our live server, specifically running a Node.js web app environment to take our local code and serve it up to the world.
Moving on to phase two, backend and security first. Doing the boring but important stuff.
Okay, one of the biggest lessons you can learn early on is that setting up your database and your security layers first is what separates a truly good software engineer from a mere hacker. Here's our exact initialization workflow in Supabase. Step 1, we create the project, picking the region closest to our users for the lowest latency. Step 2, and this is where we save massive amounts of time, instead of manually creating tables column by column, we just paste and run pre-prepared SQL scripts right in the Supabase SQL editor. Literally in seconds, this rapidly builds out an orders table for customer data and a profiles table to manage our admin users. Then, step 3 is locking the whole thing down.
So how exactly do we lock it down? Well, through RLS, or row-level security. These are database policies that control exactly which users can read, insert, or update specific rows of data. The absolutely crucial point here is that we're locking down the data at the lowest possible level. I mean, even if someone finds a vulnerability in our front-end interface, the database itself is just going to refuse unauthorized requests. No way they're getting in.
We implement 4 very specific RLS policies to make this work. First, on the Profiles table, users can only read their own profile. This just helps us verify who's actually an admin. Second, the public store interface is restricted, so visitors can only insert new orders. They definitely can't snoop around and read anyone else's data. Third, only authenticated users with the admin role can view all the incoming orders. And fourth, only that specific admin role can update an order, like changing its status to shipped.
To wrap up this backend phase, we just head over to our Supabase API settings and grab exactly 2 pieces of text, the project URL and the publishable key. These connection keys are entirely safe to use on the front end, and really, they're the only things we need to build a bridge from our database straight to the user interface.
Phase 3. Generating the storefront. Let AI write the boilerplate.
Now we shift focus to the front-end layer, and this is where we let AI do the heavy lifting for our user interface. The workflow here is honestly essentially magic. We take a master prompt and simply paste in our Supabase project URL and that publishable key we just grabbed. We feed this combined prompt into Google AI Studio, and boom, it instantly generates a super clean store layout, complete with product sections, trust badges, and most importantly, a fully connected order form.
What's really fascinating here are the specific data fields the AI successfully figured out for our cash-on-delivery store. It didn't just spit out some generic contact form. No, it gave us fields for customer name, phone number, full address, and even order notes. And the absolute best part, when we fill this out on the generated page and click Complete Order, we can immediately flip back over to our Supabase Orders table and watch that exact data appear instantly. The routing just works right out of the box.
All right, phase 4, the admin dashboard, building the control center.
So our store works, right? But real store owners don't just log into raw database tables to run their business. They need a clean, secure admin interface to view and manage all that incoming data. Notice the contrast in how these two interfaces operate. The storefront uses the anonymous key to basically blindly create orders for the public. The dashboard, on the other hand, requires a secure login. It verifies the admin role and then allows the user to read and update those exact same orders. And this brilliantly illustrates how two completely different front ends can interact seamlessly with the exact same Supabase backend bridge, all strictly governed by those security rules we set up earlier.
Now, of course, sometimes the AI misses a detail. In our generated dashboard, we noticed the delivery address column was entirely missing, which is kind of a big deal for a cash-on-delivery store. But here's where this modern workflow just absolutely shines. We don't have to dig through hundreds of lines of code. We literally just type a prompt into Google AI Studio saying, hey, get the address from the Supabase orders table and show it in a new column. And it instantly writes the fix. Talk about incredibly easy iteration.
And because that dashboard is reading directly from Supabase, we achieve real-time, two-way synchronization. If you change an order status to shipped inside your shiny new custom admin dashboard, it instantly updates that status right in the Supabase database. They are perfectly, flawlessly synced. Okay, let's see how this builds into our final objective, getting this thing online.
Phase 5. Shipping to production. Putting the project on the internet.
As a developer, having code run locally on your own machine is great and all, but the ultimate satisfaction and where the real value is comes from taking that code and deploying it live for the whole world to see. We're going to use a modern CI/CD, or continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline. Chronologically, the flow is super straightforward. Point 1, save our project from AI Studio directly into a private GitHub repository. Point 2, log into Hostinger and configure a new Node.js web app. Point 3, point Hostinger at our GitHub repo and let it automatically import and deploy the code.
Let's break down those specific tactical steps. First, authorize AI Studio to connect to your GitHub and create a private repo so your code stays nice and secure. Next, you'll need a Hostinger plan that specifically supports Node.js, something like their business or cloud startup plans. Then, in the Hostinger dashboard, you simply choose Import Git Repository. And the greatest part here, Hostinger automatically detects the correct build settings for the environment. You just leave the defaults as they are and hit deploy.
The sheer power of this automated pipeline is just incredible. Let's say you want to change the main product image on your live site. You just type a quick prompt in AI Studio, click to commit, and push the change to GitHub, and Hostinger automatically detects the update and pushes it to your live website instantly. Seriously. No manual server configurations, no clunky FTP uploads. It just works.
I really want you to take this to heart. Systems like this are often sold for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to small businesses. So do not underestimate what you're building here. As a junior developer, you haven't just followed some standard tutorial today. You've actually learned to architect and deploy a real commercially viable order management system. You've harnessed AI for rapid UI development and Supabase for robust, highly secure backend data storage. This is an absolutely killer skill set to have. Which brings us to our final thought. You've got the tech stack. You've got the automated deployment pipeline. You completely understand how to bridge AI-generated front ends with rock-solid back-end databases. So, now that you have this workflow, what system are you going to build next? The possibilities are literally entirely up to you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep experimenting, keep building, and I'll see you in the next one.